What's up, y'all? I'm Harrison. I'm out here on my boat right now, out on the lake. Actually, I'm down a stream, but the lake's out there. A little quieter down here. It's actually a beaver dam right there. So maybe we'll spot a beaver on this video. Who knows? We've seen one here before. So the reason why I'm making this video is to kind of share my story, pretty much, and how I got here. Basically, the story leading up to this moment right here. My life story. How did I get here? On this boat, on a Monday, just hanging out in nature. So, the story begins. I would say most of my childhood, I could consider myself completely unconscious. Like, I had no idea what was going on. I was just looking at my friends and what other people were doing as like a gauge on what I should be doing. I didn't really have any like thoughts of my own. I feel like I didn't really have any like creative direction with my life. I didn't really know what I wanted to do for a long time. And, went to college and joined a fraternity and just kind of did the whole thing, did what everybody else was doing at the time. And it was my freshman year of college when I was introduced to a network marketing company. And the company basically trained me to like think differently than what I've always been raised to think like. So for the first times, I heard about things like the law of attraction, which is like the concept that whatever you think grows in your life. And if you think about something long enough, it can manifest in your life, in reality. And kind of those concepts of creating whatever life that you want, doing what you love, not really going down the typical 9-to-5 route that college kind of paves out for you. And so I got really excited about those ideas, and I was reading a bunch of books on like self-help and personal development and entrepreneurship, and I kind of brainwashed myself into wanting to be kind of like an entrepreneur. So I actually dropped out of college my sophomore year, and it turned out to be a good thing because I was taking out my own student loans. And college really just puts you down a path to get a job. And the joke is kind of like, I didn't really want a job, so why would I go to college to get a job if I didn't even want a job? But obviously by that I meant like I wanted to have my own business and be an entrepreneur, self-employed. So I made the decision to drop out of college, drop out of my fraternity, kind of go against what everybody else my age group was doing at the time. Moved back home and kind of just began my journey of like figuring out what the heck I was gonna do. The network marketing company didn't really work out, although it gave me a lot of confidence with public speaking and just knowing that it is possible to live like an alternative lifestyle to the norm, like working a 9-to-5 or working for a big company or something. So I knew it was possible. I saw people doing it. I had a lot of good training in sales and public speaking and stuff from that company. So that was actually one of the best things that ever happened to me, was joining that network marketing company and dropping out of college. But yeah, so then after that, I still didn't really know what I wanted to do. I was really passionate about like health and wellness and like being the best version of yourself possible. So I invented, if you will, these like protein bars with like a bunch of like superfoods in them. And I actually opened up a farmer's market stand in Lucadia, California, and was selling protein bars. They were pretty good. But that was like my first ever attempt at my own business. And so that was, it was a start. Shortly after that, I believe I got a job again, just temporarily, just as a means of like paying the bills, still with the mindset of working on my own stuff on the side. So like anytime on my journey where I've like gotten a job, it's just been in my mind, it's only been to support myself while I figure out like what else I'm gonna do. Cause like a job has never been like an end goal for me. It's only been like I see it as a valuable tool if you need it to pay your bills and save up a little money to even invest into your business. So anyway, I was working at a restaurant and this guy came up to me and said, you're too charismatic to be working at a cash register. You should be in my business. And I was like, what? I had no idea what he was talking about, but he was a life insurance salesman. So I got recruited into Northwestern Mutual Life Insurance, and I was sold the dream of, like you have your own business, you work on your own schedule, you keep your own book of clients, you can make tons of money, you don't need a college degree. And so I got pretty excited about it. They had like a sign-on bonus. I think it was like $5,000 sign-on bonus. So I think I really only decided to do it to get that bonus with the mindset of I could just quit after I get the bonus. But I think I stuck around. I did stick around for like 6 months, and I really gave it a good shot. But ultimately it was definitely not for me. It was a 30-minute drive each morning and each afternoon down to downtown San Diego. I had to wear a suit and tie. I had to pay like $20 a day for parking, all at the same time reaching out to a bunch of cold leads and like friends and family to try and sell them life insurance at the age of like 21. It was just not the move. And I learned a lot. Again, I learned so much about sales, about doing meetings, about conducting business professionally with clients, learned about insurance, learned about financial planning, all great things that I still carry with me today. But ultimately the job was totally not for me. So clearly still at that point, like age 21, 22, I still had no idea what I wanted to do, but I was trying. Like that's the point, is like I was trying different things, that I thought could set me up financially for my next thing, to where if I did have a better idea, I could use the money and invest it into that. And I was still learning like, sales skills, entrepreneurial skills. So it was good for me at the time. So then moving forward, so I kind of did like a full 180 at this point. Is I got super stressed out with selling life insurance, hassling all my friends and family. And I kind of did a full 180. I just stopped going to work. And this was right around the same time when my friend and I went skydiving for his 18th birthday. And he got hooked and basically did like 8 more skydives that next week. And then I got hooked. And so I started skydiving. And that was like complete 180 from the life of a life insurance salesman, as you can imagine. So I started going skydiving on the weekends and stuff, and to the point where I started hating my job so much and started getting so stressed out, most stressed I've ever been in my life, to where I would skip work and go skydiving. And it got to the point where I just decided that I was going to quit my job and just figure out a way to skydive all the time, because I had a realization around this point that it wasn't just about making money, it was about doing what you love. And I didn't want to forget about that point. So when I picked up skydiving, I had like a new sense of doing things for the sake of the love of doing it, rather than doing something just for the money. Up until that point, everything I was doing was really ultimately just to try to make money. And I thought that that was kind of like the main goal in life, before you can like enjoy your life and, do what you really want to do, you should make sure you have enough money first. And so that's like the mindset that I was kind of operating from until I started skydiving. Once I started skydiving, I eventually quit the life insurance, and I was just driving Uber like every single day to make enough money just to support myself living and skydive. And finally, after like 2 years of just scraping by, barely making enough money to jump, I kind of had the realization that like, how can I actually make money from skydiving? I didn't really want to be like a skydive instructor necessarily, but I just wanted to be able to make money as like a professional skydiver of some sort. And I realized that the quickest and easiest way to do that was to be a skydive videographer. So all I had to do was put a camera on my head, and instantly I can be getting paid for my skydives as long as I'm pointing that camera at other skydivers. And so that's the path that I went down, and I started training, and I had great mentors, and I learned how to film skydivers. And so I was doing that for a little while, and then right around the same time, Alyssa and I, we decided that we wanted to kind of sell all of our stuff, move out of our apartment, and go backpack and travel the world overseas, because YOLO, and do it while you can. And because you never know if you'll ever have an opportunity to do that later in life when you have kids and things like that. So Alyssa and I decided to book one-way tickets to Bali and then New Zealand, where we decided to, intention at the time was to stay in New Zealand. We thought we were going to be moving to New Zealand, actually. But we, right before we left, a really important part of the story is Alyssa's friend, who's a wedding photographer. She told us before we left for our trip, she said, like, a camera is the best investment that you could ever make in yourself. And I really find that to be true, even if you're not a photographer or a videographer, just because you can use the tools of videography and photography to tell your own story and capture, whatever it is that you're trying to share with the world. And then at the same time, I'm realizing that like the way I'm getting my skydiving paid for is through filming skydives. And we just had the realization that if we wanted to go travel overseas and backpack, we could just take a camera with us and, take pictures and videos of like beautiful hotels, Airbnbs, stuff like that, and get a lot of our trip paid for. And that's actually what we ended up doing. And so Alyssa and I, we traveled to Bali. We did the van life in New Zealand for like 7 months. We worked at a skydive place there. And then we went to Europe and shopped for different hotels and stuff in Europe. We really were able to travel with the help of a camera as a means of making money. So it really was like the best investment I ever made in myself, was getting into cameras again. And then that brings us to when we got back stateside, right before COVID. It was actually perfect timing. We moved back, Alyssa and I, to San Diego. We got a little guest house, and we were just hanging. Actually, another part of the story, right before that, when we were in Europe, my friend connected me with a Dutch startup company that they were a software company, and they were looking for like a US based customer support person to work remotely. And this was before COVID. So like remote job was like I thought it was the dream or whatever, just to be able to make money working from home, working from wherever you are. And this was just a software company. I had no experience really with software, but I knew like from a competence standpoint, I could do customer service. I knew technologically I could figure basic software stuff out. And I basically just went into this office because my friend referred me over to them. He said they were looking for somebody. I was in Amsterdam, right place at the right time. And I went into the office for an interview, and I just convinced them that I was the guy for the job. I was never like looking for a job as the end all be all, but I found this opportunity to work remotely from my computer and still do like what I love outside of work. So like videography, photography, filmmaking, still working on my passions while having like a stable income, and that stable income being remote work from home. It was like a no-brainer. I was making more money than I ever made in my life, and it was just like totally chill. And then COVID hit, and I was super lucky to essentially be completely unaffected financially by COVID in terms of like my work, because actually the company was an e-signature company. So when COVID hit, the demand for e-signatures actually skyrocketed. So I got more busy, like I got a raise, like we hired more people. And we were grooving. I was just working from home, sitting in our little cottage in San Diego, just kind of just cruising, raking in some dough, saving money. And then, still trying to figure out what I want to do with the money that I'm making. Like, what is my ultimate dream? Still skydiving a little bit, but actually when we were in Europe, I ended up selling my skydive equipment because I was running out of money, which is another reason why I took this job. So everything happens for a reason. It's all perfect timing. But so what happened was when COVID hit, my friend in San Diego who builds vans for a living, he was actually building out a van for a client, and he asked me if he could build the van in our driveway because he needed a place to build a van. So we were like, sure, yeah, you can rent our driveway and build a van here, no problem. And on the first day of the build, he asked me, he said, hey, you're a videographer. Do you want to film the entire build and turn it into an online course? And I was like, 100%. That sounds awesome. So we created a 95 video online course from A to Z, how to convert an empty cargo van into a tiny home on wheels. And we learned a bunch about online courses. We attended like meetups and like mentorship groups and like just watched tons of YouTube, and ended up creating the van conversion course, which was an online course. And between him and I, we ended up making like $50,000 on it, and it was really cool to go through that experience. And technology and stuff kept advancing, and our paths went separate ways, and we decided not to keep the course around just because we would have had to do a lot to maintain it and stuff. But it was an amazing experience, and that really showed me how possible it is to make money online as well. So so you see how like one thing leads to the next. Like I got the job in Amsterdam, so I was working from home, and then when I was working from home, my friend built a van in my driveway, and I filmed the whole van build. Again, having a camera, having skills with a camera came in clutch because he had the skills of building the van. I didn't really have any skills besides knowing how to use a camera, and I filmed the entire van build, put it together in an online course. Boom. We each made $25,000 in like 3 months, and that was that. But it was an amazing experience. Learned so much. And then from that experience, it keeps getting better. Lyss and I learned how to build a van. That's how we learned how to build a van. So we built our own van now with the money that I had saved from the remote job. We built the van in our driveway. And then our ultimate goal, really the vision since the very beginning, has been like having a big piece of land somewhere where we can live in peace, away from the chaos of the cities, have animals, have like tiny homes that we can Airbnb, have a campground, have a wedding venue, like a dream property, like has always been a dream of Lyss and I, and we're on our way to realizing it. Guarantee that. But it's not always about the destination. It really is about the journey. As cliche as that sounds, it's very, very true. But so what happened next is we built our own van, and once we built our van, we got out of our apartment because we were paying rent. We were like, well, let's just go live in the van and go find where our forever home's going to be, or like where our land's going to be, because we knew we weren't going to live in San Diego forever. We wanted land. The entire West Coast is either on fire, or the regulations and the taxes and politics, it's just ridiculous. So we knew we were going to leave California. So we hit the road in our van. We did the entire West Coast. It was all completely on fire. And then we finally got to the East Coast. We fell in love with Maine, as you can tell. And we found a place to rent for like $1,200 a month out in the woods, full house, garage, like yard, everything. And we ended up selling our van for a profit. We rolled that money into a second van build where we finished and then drove it to California, sold it there. So now we had like cash in our pocket and a place for really low rent in the environment that we knew we were going to ultimately like have land someday. So like every move that we're choosing is like to position ourselves for the next move. So like taking the remote job was like just to position myself financially to be able to build a van, and then building the van was able to sell it, build another van, sell that, position ourselves to do the next thing. And then now we're just in Maine and we're doing video work, videography. I'm flying my drone a lot. We're doing wedding films, which is really nice for just like work-life balance. Like it's a really enjoyable job. Like you get to go party at a wedding basically and enjoy like a beautiful day, and it's really good money, and it's using our skills of like filmmaking and photography. And we're living in a beautiful place where we have our eyes set for where we want to buy land in the future. Opportunities are coming left and right from building those vans. I had a client come to me who wanted me to build him like a party bus. The job would have been like a $30,000 contract in just labor, and it would have been great, but I ended up turning it down just because it's not something I really wanted to do right now in my life. We're going into the fall season and then ultimately into the winter. It would have taken up all my time the rest of the year. It would have caused me a ton of stress. The money would have been great, but everything else about it would have been stressful. So in closing, I know this video is getting kind of long. Basically, just do what you love. Don't worry about the money. Take the job if it supports you in the rest of your life temporarily. Always know that the job is just temporary, and as long as you're working on your passion on the side, then you'll always be getting closer and closer to it, and eventually one day you'll be able to quit your day job and just do your passion full time. And that's kind of where I'm at now. I'm doing videography and flying drones and photography full time. It's completely supporting me and Alyssa. Obviously she's working, doing the same thing as me pretty much. We work together, which is really nice. Find someone who supports you in your dreams. I'm lucky that I have an amazing partner that supports me, and I feel like I can do anything that I want, and she'll always support me. Follow your highest excitement. Don't settle for something you're not passionate about. You can say no to things, turn things down. More opportunities will just arise. The more clear you are with the universe on what you want, the quicker it will come. And that's one benefit of, if you don't know what you like to do, try as many things as possible now. And by doing that, you will actually do a lot of things that you don't like, and you'll instantly realize what you do not enjoy. And so one of the best ways to find what you do love and what you do want to do in life is by doing the things that you don't want to do. So through contrast. So try as many things as possible. Don't settle. Keep moving forward. And keep your eyes on that end goal. Know where you want to go, because that's your North Star. That I really liked something that Jordan Peterson said in one of his lectures, but he was talking about basically there's only like 3 categories of anything in your life. It's and you need to have a goal for this to work. But if you have like a goal or a true north, then basically there's just a bunch of things that help you get towards that goal. There's a bunch of things that like detract you from that goal or like prevent you from getting towards that goal. You want to get rid of those things. And then the rest of the things in life basically are neutral or don't matter at all. So things that help you towards your goal, hurt you away from your goal, and don't matter. And basically you need to have that goal, that vision, that true north. For us, it's like that, having that piece of land with the farm and the animals. You need to have that before you can then look at every aspect of your life and say, is this helping me get towards my goal? Is this hurting me towards my goal? Or does it not matter? And once you have that, it becomes a whole lot easier to make real progress towards your goal and designing your life step by step. And that's the thing, is it's not just a destination where like everything up until then sucks and then one day it's just perfect. But I'm really finding that I'm really enjoying my life right now, and I technically have not achieved my goal yet of having like my own piece of land and a farm, but I'm really enjoying my life right now. And I think it's because over the years I have been designing and cultivating my life to support me and position me towards achieving my goal. And through that process, it has naturally made my life get better and better along the way. Yes, there have been tons of hard times on the way. I haven't even touched on any of that. Maybe in another video, who knows? But life is really hard too, and life is full of suffering. And that's another thing that about that Jordan Peterson sort of analogy is like, if you don't have a goal that's worthwhile enough, that means a lot to you, then the suffering of life will overwhelm you, and it basically just won't feel worth it. But if you do have a goal that like is worth the suffering of life, then any amount of suffering in the world is worth it. And that's how you get through life, because if you don't have a big goal, you're still gonna suffer, but it's just gonna suck because there's no like payoff at the end. But if you're working towards something and you know it's temporary, and that's the thing, everything is temporary. If you have to get a job for a year to save up money so you could buy a van and flip it, and then you have 60 grand to go put a down payment on a house, whatever you have to do in the short term, as long as you have that long-term goal, you just enjoy the journey in the short term. You know, go wash dishes at night. Who cares? It doesn't matter. You know that it's just temporary, that you're just setting yourself up, building yourself platforms for that end goal. So I think I've rambled enough. I think you guys get my point, but enjoy the journey, do what you love, and much love. If you have any questions, if I didn't miss anything, if I skipped over something, if it wasn't too clear, drop a comment below. Let me know if you're curious at all. I don't even know who will be interested enough to even watch this whole video, but hey, if you're still here,